How you been though?
Good, good. I cannot complain. I enjoyed your read. It was really refreshing. I was able to take on a couple of things just by the read in the way of, because I'm kind of been the last few months tapping into my own spirituality. So
Nice.
when I seen that, I was like, oh shoot, okay, you know what I'm saying? And it was like it felt refreshing that someone pulled away from the aspect, the way you put it, as a traditional aspect of a more like a religion aspect, and it just felt like just divine. So it was pretty cool. It's things that I've been encountering the last few months, and it kind of tied in within your own perspective um on everything, you know what I'm saying? So I do have I feel like we are now live, live and direct, you know what I'm saying? I have
Nah, you are retired.
hold on, yeah,
Nah, something's wrong with you, man.
so I mean, yeah, I just wanted it to be organic and natural, so I didn't want to put too much extra into it in a way of like overthinking it. So I kind of, after yesterday, I said, let me just go run through it again. But I do want to congratulate you on the read, the book. I feel like is needed in our time. Um, and it goes for all ages, because we are so accustomed to being with the older perspective, and then there's the younger ones who don't have too much, and then there's us, and it's very important for us to be tapped in. You're not like an elder, but you're elder, and you're not like a youngin. Like you're between the right efforts for OG, and I say that because you are putting perspective. You are verbal. You are putting your stuff in the literature for people to actually intake. It's just not a walk of life. You are providing your experiences. I don't know if you're looking to be the voice, but do you realize that you put yourself in a sense of purpose for others, in a way that I know that you're serving for yourself? I feel like I've been knowing you. I don't think like, oh, I'm doing this for everyone, but at the same time, do you understand the
The bigger picture?
bigger
Yes,
picture?
absolutely. Absolutely. One of the greatest lessons I learned was that we are all connected. Right. And I tell people this all the time because nobody really pays attention to that. Everyone, especially right now, there's a lot of uh I say campaigning for
Mm-hmm.
being alone. Forget everybody else, it's about me. Forget everybody else, get this money. Forget,
Mm-hmm.
forget. And no one understands that we were put here to be together, right? And not only were we put here to be together, but everything that we do absolutely affects the next person. Even if you don't know them, you're affecting their lives. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. I like to kind of always give this example of the trains. And the reason I give it the trains is because I'm from New York and we travel in large capacities on a train, right? So let's say I decide I know my belly is aching, but I'm still gonna get on the train. So now I hurl on the train, and the train has to stop. It has to stop. They gotta call an ambulance, whatever they're doing, because I'm sick on the train. Now I
Mm-hmm.
just affected the lives of so many people unintentionally.
Right.
Why? Because there is, and it affects people in so many different ways. Because somebody could have been on that train heading to a job interview that they're now not going to get because they're not on time for it, right? Then somebody's rushing to an airport and of a plane that they're going to miss, and the people on the other side, wherever they're going, are waiting for them in that airport, and now
Mm-hmm.
they're stuck there waiting for their people that's not coming. Like I just everybody on the train is stuck. Every train behind that train is now stuck. You know
Mm-hmm.
the lives I just affected. You know what I
Right.
mean? And the amount
Right.
of people that may have lost their jobs and now can't pay their bills and now can't feed their kids are now. You know what I mean? So this
Yes.
whole, like, people don't understand how real that is. And when I
Right.
got understanding of how real that is, once you get that understanding, if you are on any level of a solid person, you care
Yeah.
about affecting other people in negative ways. So
Mm-hmm.
it made me lock in more. It made me think about what I was doing because I was just like everyone else at one time. It was
Right.
like, what? You know, I was a hothead. So I'm putting hands on people. I'm not thinking about who I'm affecting. You know what I mean? Somebody I hit in high school that have self-esteem issues now and now treating their kids crazy because of a situation they had with me.
Mm-hmm.
So the trickle, that's what I pay attention to. So absolutely, although I'm not trying to be a martyr for, any particular community, I am absolutely trying to bring forth an understanding for the world. Because in
Mm.
order for us to have this heaven on earth that is extremely possible with certain things that you have to understand. And
Yeah.
so it's not for me to grow your flower, but it's for me to plant the seed, right? And allow
Mm-hmm.
you to water it over time to see the growth of it. The same way some people planted seeds in me, and I'm this flower now that everybody is observing. That's
Mm-hmm.
my only goal.
I love it. I feel like I've been placed as somewhat of a role model because I deal with children, although we deal with these different experiences that may lead us to not we have imperfections, so sometimes I don't even like to be called a role model because I feel like I have so many imperfections, and
Well, we all have imperfections. It's not the goal is to make sure that when you identify your imperfections, you work to make those imperfections be great, right? Can you
yeah,
hear me?
yeah.
So although I don't purposely go for the role of role model, the reality is we are all role models. Even though people like to put certain people in those places and positions, if you think about it, if you're around anyone who looks at you and who's paying attention to you, you're a role model. You have little brothers and sisters, you're a role model. You got children, you're a role model. You're a friend, you're a role model. Somebody is looking at you um, for somewhat of a guide. And so
Mm-hmm.
we all have that. And once you understand that, that goes back to what I was saying before, as far as affecting everybody's actions, affecting someone else. We don't even recognize how many people are paying attention to us. You know what I mean? I've had people tell me they've seen me and, oh, I seen that you did this. I didn't notice them. You know what I mean? So it's very important to be exactly who you say you are. You
Right.
know what I mean? And so that's what it is. It's not that I'm choosing to be a role model. I'm just choosing to be my greatest self so that the people who are watching me aspire to be their greatest self. That's it.
Yes. Yeah. That, like I said, I don't think it's you choosing that. I feel like it's your is doing that. It kind of applies you in that way without you saying this is what I'm doing. It just applies you. This read, your post, how you move. So, for example, if you were back in the day, you were a hothead and things going on, it may not apply as it does today. The read, if I read it, I can see a sense of who you are. Just through the,
Consistency.
you know what I'm saying?
Consistency is important. Consistency is important. See, I've had somebody actually come on the page on Facebook and say, yo, where all this positivity come from? What happened to the Mahag? I remember they used to punch people in the face, right? And I said, he in there tucked away, but that's not how, I don't live that way anymore. You know what I mean? I don't live that
Yeah.
way anymore. So it's not what happened to her. She grew up. You know what I mean? She grew up, she knows better. I didn't know better before. I thought that was how you handle things. Now that I have different tools, I can handle things different. And I think that's the thing. I think the biggest accomplishment is finding the tools that can help you towards your greatness. And that's what this book is about, right? The book is a tool for those who are in the realm of trying to figure themselves out. You have to follow it by the letter, but it does give you a bunch of questions and answers a bunch of questions and gives you somewhat of a guide so you can find your space and find what works for you.
Right. What is your overall take on religion in general?
Well, like I said in the book, I don't do traditional religion, and I think that anyone who does do traditional religion needs to make sure that that it's founded within a spiritual connection. Because just making sure that you're coming to services and talking the talk and getting on your knees is not a connection with God. It has to be something deeper. If you're not, I know a lot of people, I've spoken to so many people who are religious, who don't feel like they get their prayers answered.
Wow.
It's like, all right, so do you actually have a connection? And if you do, are you actually tapped in enough to recognize the outcome of what you're asking for? You know what I mean? Because everybody's looking from glass half full or glass half empty. So if your focus is on a negative, you're obviously going to miss all the jewels. But if you're looking for the jewels, when they come, you like, oh, you counting it. You counting it. It's like, oh, I asked for this. Look at how this is coming about. I see it's on its way. You see it.
Right.
So, I just challenge religious people to just make sure that it's not just you just following a tradition, you just following a ritual, but you actually tap in. And the only way to do that is to really get full understanding of who you are, like fully. I'm not talking about, oh, I'm an artist, oh, I'm respectful, those words that are put on us. That's why I made sure I spoke about titles. Stripping yourself past the titles and everything that everyone told you are from day one. Go all the way back there, and then try to identify who you are. Because when you start asking yourself those questions, you're sitting there like, well, who am I really? Like, who am I really? You know what I mean? And then it starts, it actually, that area, that space, that understanding is what helped me get rid of a lot of biases myself. Because when you start realizing that people are only these titles that they're just picking up along their way of their journey, it's like, so who are you really?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. All right. You are with a group of people, and one invite you to a Baptist church. Another one says, hey, my church is this is Christian. At this point of where you at, if I'm a Buddhist and I say, hey, come to my church, or come to my, I don't know what they call it, No,
I actually had that experience. I had a Buddhist invite me to go chant downtown on 14th Street. And me and my homie went. We went and did it. Because God goes with me everywhere.
Right.
The same way I'm telling them that God is not just in a building.
Gotcha.
God goes everywhere. So it doesn't stop me unless it's just not something that I'm into doing at that point. It's not going to be just because, oh, it's a church.
Right.
I already have my understanding. I have a great foundation. So it's not going to take away from anything. It might add to it. I might get some information that may add to it. So I don't know. I'm not close to it, but I do find that going into churches, I find the most lost people.
Wow. Okay. I definitely I don't understand because I don't plug too much into churches, but I do understand because we all go through this learning experience, right? We don't know what tomorrow may hold. And like I said, I don't have a specific, I can't say I'm a Baptist or Christian. I do stand really firm on my spirituality. At the same time, I do feel sometimes pulled in between some of the rights and wrongs, and that's just what being.
Because you gotta find your space. Right now, you're still following. You're trying to find your footing. So you're like in the discovery stage. You're gonna have to pull in that space. When you finally find, that's why I told you. That's why I put the book out. I need people to like really strip down, ask yourself those questions, get to the bottom of things. That's the only time you're actually gonna get real answers and a real connection. That's when you're gonna realize what spirituality is. Like everybody speaks the lingo. It's lingo right now. Alignment,
it definitely
vibration. Like everything is the lingo. But the people who really live it, you can tell. You can tell when people are really in that space. They exude it.
Right.
Level of happiness is a different level of contentment. Is a different level of just serenity, and it's not a lot of worry. It's not a lot of. It's like all of that stuff. Like the people, for you to lock in on a religion and have no real faith is sad to me. It's really sad. It's sad. That means that you really don't understand where you belong. And I just really want people to get to a place of understanding so that they can have, like, everybody's out here hurting. That's not what life is about.
Yeah.
Not what life is about. But you rolling off of pain and fear and all of these different things, and those things just don't exist within, real alignment with God. You understand there's a separation between spirit and human, right? And there's things that your human self can handle, and there's things that are out of your human control. And so you leave that to your spiritual side, right? So that's where fear goes bye-bye. Because anything that I like, the way that they say, if you can't do anything about it, why are you worrying about it? People say it, but they don't get it. The reality of things is that's a true statement. Anything I can have a solution for, I can figure out a solution for, that's the human space. The things that's outside of that is not for me to handle. It's for my soul to handle. So that's when prayer comes in. Your conversation with God comes in for that. Because now it's like, God, I'm experiencing this. I'm feeling this. This is what I need to come out of this. And I know that this is your realm. I'm asking for you to put me in a position for this to take place. Right? And you allow that to happen. Because when you locked in, you know it's going to happen. The worry comes from people who know they're not really locked in.
Wow. What my last question is, it kind of ties into this in a way. Do you feel like an innate self that this comes from your upbringing, or where do you feel like this deeper strength, this sense of being comes from? Do you feel like it comes from your parents, your siblings, your upbringing?
It comes from my purpose. So like you asked me already, you said, do you believe that anything is by chance or coincidence? I do not. We are not here by chance or coincidence. We were placed here for purpose. There's a reason for our being here, right?
Right.
I was put in a specific household with specific people around specific situations to create exactly what I needed to be in order to become what I am now. And so even the hurtful things that I've been, like, I think I told you before, the things that I've been through that was like the worst parts of my life that made me feel like, what am I even here for? Back in the day, I see now as a part of the crafting of my purpose.
Wow.
Insane. The moment that I put it together was like, this is insane. This is insane. So when people, I've been hearing since I was a child, like, you're something different. I see something different in you. People used to say that to me all the time, and that at the time I was just cocky. It's like, oh yeah, You know what I mean? You don't really get it. You don't really get it. But when you start, when you find out what your purpose is, then it's like, oh, this is bigger than me. I don't take credit for this. Like years ago, I think you might have heard me say it before via music. When people be like, yo, how do you come up with this stuff? And I'd be like, I can't take credit for this. God did this. Because I be in the middle of nothing and then have this moment and I wrote a whole song. And then when everybody hears it, it's like, yo, this is crazy. And it's like, I wrote that in 20 minutes, a whole song in 20 minutes, and people are losing their minds, and labels is looking for me. And it's like, I can't take credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take the credit because I don't even know how that happened. Right. So I recognize that God was throughout my entire life holding my hand, getting me out of situations to make sure that I didn't have permanent bruising on my reputation. You know what I mean? Put me through just enough for me to not break, but to be able to tell the story in the way that I'm telling it and people to be able to relate to me. Because if I had a perfect life, first off, if I had the perfect life, I wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't have the pain and the urge to be who I am now. You know what I mean? To wanna give people better comes from knowing what it's like to have worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all of that stuff happened for a reason, and then people are not able to relate to people who they see as squeaky clean. When you trying to pull people from the bottom, they need to know that you know what the bottom look like, what it feel like, what it smell like, right? And what worse than the bottom in the Bronx? You know what I mean? then my story gets attached to a front page news article of 7 days. You know what I mean? None of that was for nothing. And I recognize that. I remember I denounced God when Jessica died. I never forget that. I was in my room and my mother was like, just talk to God. And I was like, God, what kind of God kills a 10-year-old? Ain't no fucking God. That's how I felt at that moment. And I meant it. And my mother's exchange was, you may not understand now, but there's a purpose for everything. And I know you don't want to hear it right now. But she said, God is not the only one at play. There's another power at play too. So don't give God the rap for, the devil.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, that's her understanding. I now understand that the devil and God are both within you and your choices and who you're aligning with. But it stuck. That stuck with me. That definitely stuck with me. So it was like seeing New York stand up for somebody that I cared daily for, that I was with every single day. And I watched this hood that I watched be selfish as all hell. Nobody care about nobody but themselves. Turn into a neighborhood that's checking on me. Every time I walk down the block, you all right? You need anything? You want me to put out these flyers? Y'all want us to go in? That was a big deal for me. That was a big deal for me. And that was a moment of everything does happen for a reason. And although this hurts like hell, and I still don't understand the full reason, I know this is part of the reason. She just brought a whole city together in her honor. That's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. That's deep. That's deep. I just want to like thank you first for the read, because it's very like I said before, it was very refreshing. It felt like an honest perspective. When you do these reads, it's supposed to be from people who are like, it feels like, you're being told, you're reading someone, but this one felt a little bit different, in a way where everybody can relate. You left no room for those who be like, well, in my church, you left no room. You left no room. Like you went with, your experience. You went with definitions. I mean, like, I was like, oh, wow. At one point, I would say at one point, I felt like in a way was like, did you just write it or did you feel like a sense of have to? That's my last question.
So this was another one of those moments. I woke up one morning, got in the shower, and while I was in the shower, this book came to me. And the name of the book came before the book. It was really weird. I got in the shower. While I'm showering, I'm like, the religion in you. And then when I got out the shower, I didn't even get dressed. I'm in a towel on my bed, and I just started typing. And I mean, I laid there and typed and typed and typed and typed until nothing else would come out of me, because it was just like God talking through me. And I was like, there's got to be something to this, because like, where'd this come from? And then I called my friend, and I was like, my closest friend, and I'm like, yo, I say, yo, something just came to me. This book just came to me. I'm like, let me let you hear what I just wrote. And she's like, yo, you wrote all this just now? I'm like, it just flowed. I had to share it with somebody. It's flowing. And she was like, yo, it's something to that. Like, tap into that. And I said, that's the plan. I said, I'm gonna write a book. This is gonna be a book. And so I continued writing. I got stuck at one point. It just like stopped, and I don't like to force. I don't force anything. I like I said, I'm all vibrations. So I allowed it to come back, and then I completed, and then I would run it past, my circle to see, did I answer all the questions that you would have? Did I pose all the questions that you think people need? Like, and they helped me kind of dig deeper. And so after a few edits, that's what came out of it. And I just was like, yo, during quarantine, I was like, I'm putting this out because it felt during the process, like after getting past the where did this come from moment, it felt like, nah, this is necessary. Like, this is necessary. And so I'm happy that it felt that way to you, because that's what it was. It was necessary, but I really, like, God had the pen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand that. That's why I asked, because I wanted to know kind of more. So that really answers it. That's more like, that's God. because you can't really get that type of content. Like, that content just doesn't, I can imagine that
has to happen.
It just has to. And you can really feel it when you read it. In general. And I felt it from the beginning to the end. I know that you knew what you had, but I don't know if you knew what you had, because it felt on the other side as just a reader, seeing how enlightening and refreshing that a read can be for people that has to do with such a big topic, what your thought process is, and from your thought process, how it interacts into your mental, out of your mouth. It is a big deal. It's reads like this that helps us move forward, just with our imperfections, but still feeling like there's a purpose that puts it all in perspective for everyone. And I think that was more so important, because I would have been rolling my eyes if it was put in perspective, like, oh Lord, this reader is about to have a field day with this, or this type of reader is about to have a field day.
What's crazy?
I don't know.
I thought that well, it's not over yet, so it's still time. But
yeah.
I'm waiting for some kind of some little friction from the religious
word. Yes,
because some of the questions that I put in there, I know is not gonna rub them too well, and I made sure I said that in it. That's what I'm saying. Like, listen, read the book, get an understanding of what I'm saying before you have this dialogue with me, because I really do understand what I'm speaking of.
That I give you kudos for that. It was to the point, to the T, what needed to be said. I enjoyed it, and it was a quicker read. Like, it just, I kept going because I just wanted to keep going this way and saying, Okay, what she got next, you know, and believe it or not, I was looking for those conscious, especially as a teacher. I was looking, and I say I was looking for those momentums where I was like, but wait. And I didn't really find that, you know what I'm saying? I didn't find that at all where I said, wait, because I'm so used to people being confined in their ways of thinking and their ways that you could always find something. And there was nothing to find. There was nothing to find.
I think it
There
would have
was
been,
no.
it would have been, I think it would have been different had I been trying to change people's minds. But I took a stand. Like one thing that is in the book as well is the fact that we go through stages, so we're constantly learning. So I can't sit here and act like, you know, this is it. So I'm not going to do that. I need to allow you some information, plant some seeds so you will come to your own understanding. And when you do that, then you're leaving people the ability to choose and come to their own place. And I did that mindfully.
Mm-hmm. All right, word. 2020, Kamisha Oliver, president.